And if you can leave most interactions that you have on a positive basis, I promise you, this is based on my experience, that will snowball over time and compound to the point where it can do a lot of great things for you into the future. Hello, and welcome back to another video. As this title says, I'm here to share with you some business principles that has helped me find success, helped me make my first 7 figures, and subsequently multiple 7 figures afterwards. Before we get started, feel free to support a fellow recruiter. Give us a like, subscribe, and click that bell. It would really mean a lot. Let's get started. Quick disclaimer, a lot of this is based on my own experience, and I really hope that what worked for me can also work for you as well. I'm here to provide you value and hope that you'll learn, you can do better, find success, and we can possibly collaborate together into the future. And again, apologies in advance for any spelling or grammatical errors that may occur. Let's get started. If you're new to this channel, a couple things about me. So prior to recruiting, a lot of my background and prior jobs have been in sales, business development, and entrepreneurial pursuits. And then I started my recruiting career almost about a decade ago at a nationwide staffing firm here in the US. I quickly became one of the top producers, started my way from the bottom out of 300 nationwide, and was able to build over $500,000 on my own desk, was able to surpass $100,000 in 1 month on my own desk on a brand new startup team, no client handouts, none of that. I then shortly after started my own solo recruiting practice, and for many years in the beginning, by choice, I just wanted to be by myself, do a couple placements, travel, and live a good life. And somehow I was able to do $500,000 again, a little over that on my own desk, and only until recently where we decided to really look into ways of scaling the team, hiring full time. But for many years, most of it, no VAs, no part-timers, none of that stuff. Since then, grateful to say that we were able to pass multiple 7 figures worth of placements since then. So the first business principle that really helped me is the notion that success takes time. And as cliche as it sounds, one of the quotes that really encapsulates this perfectly is this: the day you plant the seed is not the day that you eat the fruit. And what this means to me is that a lot of people come into a new job, a lot of people come into a new business, and they just want to see results fast. And what they're really going to learn very quickly is that whatever timeline or ideal scenario you had in your brain, it's going to usually take much longer, and it's always going to be much harder to reach that same goal or even a fraction of that. So applying this to recruiting, I always came into this understanding this principle, and I focused on the long term. I focused on the long-term relationships. I did not have a short-term horizon. I operated and made decisions based on a long-term horizon, and I was always obsessed about doing whatever I could to provide the best experience and the best results over and over again, and sometimes in difficult situations, doing the right thing and taking the high road. I avoided shortcuts. I avoided easy ways to make money. I avoided inflating salaries to get paid more. I avoided, being vague with my clients and candidates. I was always about transparency, or did my best to. And sometimes what that meant was that I walked away with money on the table simply because I thought it was the right thing to do. And I always look for ways to improve over time and get better. And I'm in no way coming online, or let alone on social, and really position myself as some sort of Mr. Know-it-all. I know that there's so many more ways for me to grow, to be better, and that's what I challenge myself every single day. I knew that reputation is everything. In business, but specifically in recruiting, as it's a people business. People will not necessarily remember at a given time what exactly they did to work with you, specific position, specific teams or initiatives, but they will remember how they felt working with you. And if you can leave most people, most interactions that you have on a positive basis, I promise you, this is based on my experience, that will snowball over time and compound to the point where it can do a lot of great things for you into the future. The power of word of mouth and referral is going to be the best source of business and opportunities. Yes, you have to learn how to lead gen. Yes, you have to learn how to develop cold relationships. But if you focus on doing the right thing, really listening, being able to deliver and convey to either the client or the candidate, you're doing whatever you can in their best intention, and they leave with a positive interaction with you, that is so much more powerful than just cold calling, cold emailing a lot of cold people who have no idea what you are with no context. The new lows, even though success takes time, even though business takes time, and it's going to be highs, it's going to be lows, you continue with a long-term horizon, the new lows are going to become higher than your previous highs. And if you take the average of all of that, that's going to be a very positive trend into the right direction. So the biggest thing I want you to take away is that success takes time, and all these people out there saying that you can make money quick, just avoid that. It's a massive red flag. You have to make sacrifices. You have to be willing to put the work in no matter what sort of business that you want to do, and just make it happen and do the right thing. The second thing is that focus is everything, especially for people who are are working for themselves, whether maybe initially as a contractor or they're a solo operator or a solo recruiter. When you're in the entrepreneurial world, you kind of start seeing the world as just full of opportunities everywhere. And you're like, oh my God, I can capitalize on this. Oh my God, this is a great idea. I have 20 new ideas. Maybe I should start this business today. Maybe I should start that business tomorrow. Maybe I can do that one on the side. I was guilty of this too. When I started my recruitment business, I also dabbled in real estate. I did e-commerce. I actively traded in the markets. I thought I was the man, operating multiple different businesses and different revenue streams, but I was exhausted, and the level of success that I was attaining with all of these things, spreading myself out too thin, is nowhere in comparison to what I'm experiencing right now when I'm focused just on one thing. While I was able to make money doing a lot of other things, I was again working so many hours, and my output retrospectively was just average. On top of that, when I started my recruitment business, my schedule was just all over the place, from dealing with administrators, marketing, lead gen, finance, taxes, on top of trying to manage all these other initiatives I'm doing as well. And so what really happened was that when I made this sole decision, and it was actually a difficult decision to do and to put into practice, to really focus on just one thing, not on everything, focus just on one business, then that's when essentially my income went from here and just simply 10x, where I went all in on one business, made recruiting my fundamental focus, and only focused on activities and businesses that pushed that business forward. You hear this all the time, but it's really true. 80% of the results will come from 20% of the actions. You need to prioritize and push secondary actions aside and just do the things that are going to push your main business forward. I believe that if you want to do other businesses, you can, but you have to first choose one, go all in, really hit that level of success that you want to attain to. And if you feel at that point you can't make it more successful, you can't make more money, perhaps maybe it makes sense if you can free up some bandwidth intentionally and do it smart way to invest in other branches of income that you can create and manage on the side. So for me, this was the biggest takeaway here. If I continued doing all the things I was doing before, I would just lose sanity and I would have no energy. I'd be spread thin and I would not be seeing the results that I'm seeing right now. So principle number 2 is make sure that you really focus. Number 3 is you just gotta love doing the mundane and you gotta love doing the boring work. The man who loves walking will walk further than the man who loves the destination. You have to walk and you have to enjoy the adventure and journey to get to where you want to go. If you have a really big vision, but then you don't know even how to walk, or you hate walking that middle part, then you will never reach your destination, from my experience. You need to show up and do the boring work consistently. Whatever business that you're in, whatever work that you're in, try to identify what is the boring work and you need to focus on that. It's so easy, on top of the second point that I made earlier, to be distracted using new technologies, using AI to somehow eliminate the boring work. You need to find tools that can help amplify how you can do the boring work better and faster, but you have to embrace it. What that means in recruiting is you have to take those calls. You gotta take the candidate calls. You gotta put in the hours to source. You gotta put in the hours to make outreach and personalize each email and output that you're doing, because it will compound and snowball over time. Discipline to me is not about being perfect. It's about showing up and doing the same thing over and over and over again, even when you don't want to. If you're not feeling well, you're just feeling lazy, you're just not being consistent, you have to show up, be consistent, and do the work, because the more you can do that, everything, again, the law of compounding will work in your favor eventually, but it will never work if you never get started, or you just start and stop all the time because you're hot and cold and you're excited one moment and you're completely fizzled out and disengaged the next moment. You gotta be consistent, enjoy the boring work, do that sourcing, do those calls, do everything consistently with a long-term horizon, and it will become a snowballing machine that will propel your business forward. Your next client, your next candidate is just around the corner. And if you give up and you never do the work, you'll just never be able to realize it. So embrace the journey, do those calls, do those emails, do the reps consistently over and over and over again, and then you will get to your destination. Failure is completely necessary for improvement. This is something that you also hear all the time, but this is something that really resonates with me as I experience this over and over and over again. Improving is absolutely impossible without failure. Think in your life, how did you learn, for example, how to swim if you know how to swim? Perhaps you swallowed some water in the beginning. Perhaps you were terrible at front crawling, right? But then eventually you learn from that, you get smarter, and then you learn how to swim properly. How did you learn how to first ride your bike? Maybe that you got on the bike a couple times and you fell. You skinned your knee. You have a couple scars on your arms. You maybe perhaps sprained or broke a bone, but then you got back up, and over time, as you get better, you learn to mitigate the mistakes you did previously, and then eventually you learn how to do it. You'll never learn how to swim. You'll never learn how to drive. You'll never learn how to ride a bike if you never try. Failure is just an absolutely absolutely critical part of the process of improving, learning, getting better, and iterating. Same thing when it comes to business or recruiting. Like, how did you get better doing cold calls or sending emails? You just start, and then you learn from the feedback, and then you get better over time. If you never start, you'll never get that feedback, and you'll never get better over time. You also have to think of it as something that conceptually is not that scary. A lot of people, especially in sales or business development or business, what really prevents them from starting in the first place is the failure, the rejection of people saying no. Just understand that no just means not right now. You can always follow up with them in the future. But again, everyone in business or sales goes through that same thing. I think the one small way that you can get ahead of a lot of people is just expect that. Tell yourself you're going to be okay. Make sure you stay organized, track that lead down and follow up in the future, and just get started and keep moving forward. You have to try, you have to fail, try again, you fail again. But then another way to translate that is you tried, you get better, you try, you get better, you try, you get better. And again, your lows and your highs are going to get higher and higher and higher over time. I would rather try and fail than never trying at all. That's how you learn, that's how you improve, that's how you set new goals, and what keeps the chase going when it comes to business. And that's what gets me excited and stimulates my mind and helps me and motivates me to move forward. The next one is don't waste energy or your feelings or mental capacity on things outside of your control. If you're in business, you're freelancing, you're a solo, it's very easy to kind of go into the hole and just worry about like, how's the market doing? Like, are we in a recession? Oh my God, inflation's going up. The interest rates are going up. The world is falling apart, which is why I should not start today, or which is the reason why my business is not where it is today. I can just sit back and wait and just blame everything an external factor because it just makes sense. It comforts me. Or what about, you found a star candidate. They decide to withdraw. They decide to ghost you. They decide to get another job. What happens if you have a star client? They decide to immediately ghost you as well, stop working with you. They hire someone else. You can constantly think of and concoct so many things that can happen. And instead of worrying about it and dwelling on it, you just move past it and simply ignore it. Focus on things that you can actually control. I can still cold call today. I can still cold email today. I can still reach out to candidates today. I can still, reach out to past candidates or past clients, see if I can get a referral or do some sort of word of mouth. I can do social media posts. Like, there's things that you can do right now, and there's things that you can just worry about in another dimension. What would you rather do? What pushes your business forward? Would you rather focus on activities that actually propel you, or worry about theoretical things, theoretical fears that are just really not real, and then have you in the constant state of analysis paralysis, and then you're just stuck? You can either play the victim, you can either point your fingers at something or someone else, or you can just take accountability on yourself and just take action. So for me, yes, I do my best to listen to the news. I do my best to see like how other agencies are doing, what the market's like, how bad the layoffs are like. But at the same time, that's like 1 or 2% on my mind, what I focus on or think about every single day. The rest is, how do I get my business forward? Candidates, clients, social media, creatives, out of the box strategies, different opportunities. That is what encompasses my time, and that is what you should be focused on. You can pivot your business quickly, pivot to a new market. You can find ways to maybe perhaps market your value better when it comes to candidates or clients. You can find a better candidate if your star candidate goes away. You can find a better client. Like, don't always just accept a subpar condition. If you want to make things better, you have the power and the control to make things better. Just follow it up with consistency and action, and your reality and your business situation can change very quickly. So I hope this helps. There's so many more topics for me to talk about. If you like this video, want to see more like it, let me know. Feel free to also follow me at Preston_Park, as I try my best to also post behind the scenes content daily. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you on the next one.